I'm filming this over a polarizing light. My hope is, as I'm working the glass, to visualize the stress. Hopefully you'll actually be able to see the stress as it forms. So I'm going to make a side seal, and I'm going to intentionally do it in a way to induce stress, which honestly is not too different than any other day. Okay, I didn't mean to do that, but that's fine. So normally I would preheat the glass and take some other precautions, but I'm intentionally, again, doing this very rapidly and in a way that should induce a lot of stress. And so now I'm going to take this piece of glass, which is much too big for the seal, and I'm going to smush it on here, heat it up, and then I'm going to rapidly cool it. I'm basically going to let it rapidly cool. I'm not going to have to actually do anything. And that should cause enough stress probably to make it crack, which for this is actually perfectly fine. So at this point I'm heating, but I'm not even blowing. I'm just basically going around trying to make this weld reasonable. I am working directly over my polariscope, in case you're wondering, but I've got enough distance that none of the, here's my hand, none of the heat is causing any issue, and the polarizing filter, I've repositioned it so it's directly in front of the camera. Now for this, I'm going to intentionally, like I said, heat this up really good. Get it to the point where when it cools, you should see a large amount of stress form to the point where it should break, or could break. There it goes. Up until that moment, I didn't actually have it perfectly sealed. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop. Normally, you would keep working in the seal and trying to improve it, and then use an annealing flame to prevent it from breaking due to stress. But I'm just going to let this rapidly cool down, and hopefully you'll be able to see stress on the monitor as it cools down. So again, let's see if I can get my finger in here. So below me is the polarizing light. Directly in front is the polarizing filter. I'm going to move the filter away for a moment. So that's without the filter. All right, and you can actually see the stress line forming. So I'm going to move that again. Okay, give it a moment. And see what it looks like, and then as I move this filter in, I want to get my finger too close. Right here, you can see very distinctly the shadow of the stress. And again, I'll move the polarizing filter out. In fact, something I just realized, the blue didinium filter is actually making it a little bit more difficult to see. So I'm going to go ahead and take it off, and hopefully I won't lose focus in the process of doing that. Alright, because normally you keep the didinium filter on, but now that there's actually no flame, no sodium being generated, there's really no point. So now, move that away, bring it back. Give that a moment to adjust. And right now I'm using the display from the camera itself, so I honestly can't tell how good it is. But what I'm going to do, since it has not broken, which is good, I'm going to heat it back up. But this time without the didinium filter. That's way too aggressive. Without the didinium filter, and what that will hopefully do is when it does cool back down, you'll be able to see it more distinctly. But right now you're just going to see that sodium flare because of the lack of the filter. And what I am trying to do is I work this to do it in a reasonable way, so it's what you would actually expect if you were doing this not for a demonstration. So I'm not going to work in all sides, I just want to work in a little bit more here. And again, hopefully the abuse I just put there will now show up as stress. And what I meant by of trying to do this reasonably, obviously if I threw cold water on this I could cause it to crack, but I'm trying to simulate your real working conditions and how you can have stress form regardless of, or no matter what you do. So I'm going to move the filter away, give it a moment to stabilize. Alright. I've got another polarizing filter. So I don't know if having this additional polarizing filter is going to make any difference. Make it better, make it worse. We'll see. I can still feel heat radiating off of the piece. I've repositioned the camera relative to the polariscope to try and get a better visualization of the stress. I do not have the didinium filter on the camera, so it will be picking up the yellow flare, but that's really not important right now, because again, for this, I've got a very, very poorly defined side seal, and what I'm trying to do is induce some stress and capture it on the camera. So I warmed up the glass a little bit, so it hopefully won't break straight out of the gate here. And now I'm going to go ahead and work it in there. And as I'm doing this, I have to be incredibly careful of making sure I don't point the torch in the direction of the polariscope or the polarizing filter in front of my camera, for obvious reasons. Okay, hopefully that will do enough damage, as it were, to induce some stress. I'm taking the camera freehand, and what I'm doing is I'm rotating the polarizing filter to enhance. So I'm going to remove the polarizing filter, so you can see, well, now it looks fine, but there it is. So you can see the visualization of the stress. When the piece was at working temperature, I would obviously not have been able to do this, not just because of my hand being in two places at the same time, but the heat given off would destroy this very nice polarizing filter. So just the filter by itself, you can see how when I rotate it, alright, so, and we won't talk about that. Alright, this is with the filter behind the work. You can see obviously that's not doing anything, but then I put the filter in front, and there we go. And so the deep purple color that you're seeing, that's bad. The more purple blue it is, the greater the stress, which was kind of the point as I was doing this.